The arena lights glistened down upon the squared circle, the crowd buzzing with anticipation. In Mexico, boxing isn't just a sport, it's tradition, heritage, and pride. Tonight, the beloved veteran Carlos Cuadras stepped into that ring once more, draped in the weight of his nation's hopes. Across from him stood a young man barely old enough to rent a car, Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez. Only 22 years old, stepping in on short notice, he carried not just his gloves and skill, but the daring audacity to seize an opportunity most fighters spend years chasing. This was more than a fight. This was the story of a rising star colliding with a seasoned warrior. The opening bell rang, and immediately the contrast was clear. Cuadras, the veteran, came forward like a man with something to prove. His looping left hand swung wide, testing the youngster's defense, looking to intimidate. Rodriguez, calm beyond his years, used quick pivots, his southpaw stance creating awkward angles. The crowd roared every time Cuadras lunged in, hoping to rattle the American. But Bam answered with clean, straight shots, nothing flashy, but precise. The first round set the stage. Cuadras was the aggressor, but Rodriguez's composure told us this kid wasn't here for a paycheck. He was here to win. Cuadras pressed harder in the second. He knew Rodriguez had never fought at this level before, never seen these bright lights as a headliner, never carried the burden of championship rounds. So he threw volume, body shots, hooks, and combinations meant to wear down the youngster. Yet Bam's defense was tight. He blocked, slipped, and countered, his feet gliding around the ring with maturity. A sharp left hand snapped Cuadras' head back, silencing the crowd momentarily. But Cuadras, undeterred, roared back with bodywork, reminding everyone he was still the bigger, stronger man. The chess match had begun. The third round gave us our first taste of drama. Cuadras charged in, looping another trademark hook, but Rodriguez saw it coming. With a subtle pivot, he created just enough space, then launched a blistering right uppercut down the middle. It detonated clean. Cuadras crashed to the canvas. The crowd gasped, then exploded into chaos. Mexico's veteran was on the floor. Cuadras rose quickly, pride pushing him back to his feet, but the message was clear: Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez wasn't intimidated. He had the power, the timing, and the nerve to turn the fight in an instant. For the first time, Cuadras knew this wasn't just another young challenger. This was a problem. The knockdown had given Rodriguez confidence, but Cuadras wasn't done. He came storming out, pressing with urgency. The Mexican warrior had been in deep waters before, with Estrada, with Sor Rungvisai, with Chocolatito, and he wasn't going to let a 22-year-old dictate the fight so easily. Rodriguez, however, adjusted beautifully. He didn't rush for a finish. Instead, he boxed with patience, landing jabs, body shots, and sneaky uppercuts. Cuadras landed a few overhand rights, pushing the younger man against the ropes, but Bam's head movement and angles allowed him to slip out. It was experience versus youth, and round 4 belonged to both, one man's grit, another's precision. The fifth round showed Cuadras' resilience. Despite the earlier knockdown, he poured on combinations, forcing Rodriguez into exchanges. The veteran's looping shots weren't always clean, but the sheer activity made them effective. The crowd chanted for their man, urging him forward. Rodriguez, though, didn't lose focus. He targeted the body with ruthless intent, digging hooks into Cuadras' ribs. Every time Cuadras threw in volume, Bam answered with cleaner counters. The round ended with both men trading shots, neither willing to yield. It was youth against experience, and neither was backing down. By round 6, the fight had settled into a rhythm. Cuadras kept pressing, his face showing the scars of battle, but his spirit unbroken. Rodriguez, meanwhile, began showcasing his brilliance. His footwork was dazzling, his angles sharp, and his combinations crisp. He wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. A left uppercut landed flush, drawing ooze from the crowd. Cuadras responded with wild hooks, but many were blocked or slipped. This was the moment the boxing world began to realize: Bam wasn't just holding his own, he was controlling the fight. Round 7 tested Rodriguez's stamina. He had never been this deep before, and Cuadras knew it. The veteran leaned on him, roughed him up inside, landed shots to the body, and forced him into uncomfortable exchanges. For the first time, Rodriguez looked a little winded. His hands dipped slightly, his feet slowed just a beat. But great fighters find answers. Bam adjusted, moving more, jabbing, and resetting the pace. A sharp combination late in the round regained momentum. Cuadras may have outworked him in moments, but Rodriguez reminded everyone he was still in control. The 8th round was Cuadras' resurgence. He came out firing, throwing heavy combinations, hoping to break the youngster down. His right hand landed flush, snapping Rodriguez's head back. The Mexican crowd roared to life, sensing a shift. But Rodriguez refused to be rattled. He fired back with precision, landing uppercuts and body shots that slowed Cuadras' momentum. Still, the veteran's volume was undeniable. For one of the few times in the fight, Cuadras had his moment. It was experience and willpower keeping him alive, refusing to fade. By round 9, fatigue weighed heavy. Rodriguez had never gone this far, and Cuadras sensed opportunity. He pressed relentlessly, throwing in bunches, hoping the younger man would crack. Bam, though, showed his heart. He traded willingly, slipping some shots, blocking others, and firing sharp counters. A brutal left hand staggered Cuadras, reminding the veteran who had the sharper weapons. The round ended with both fighters bloodied, exhausted, but still exchanging leather. It was a war of attrition, and Bam had proven he could fight deep into the trenches. The 10th round was a showcase of Bam's skill. With fatigue threatening, he went back to fundamentals: jab, pivot, counter. He refused to stand still, making Cuadras miss and then pay. A slick left hand landed clean, followed by a sharp uppercut. Cuadras kept charging, throwing with reckless abandon, but his accuracy faltered. Rodriguez's youth and speed gave him the edge. The crowd respected Cuadras' courage, but the cleaner, sharper work belonged to Bam. In round 11, both men dug deep. Cuadras, knowing he needed something big, fought with desperation. He threw looping shots, trying to land a knockout punch. Rodriguez, calm, kept his composure. He slipped, countered, and landed with authority. Every exchange was high drama, Cuadras swinging for glory, Rodriguez answering with poise. The arena stood on its feet, applauding the heart of both fighters. It was clear the veteran had given everything, but the younger man's skill was shining brighter. The final round. 3 minutes left in a grueling war. Cuadras came out like a man possessed, his face bloodied but his will unbroken. He knew he needed a knockout, and he threw with everything he had left. Rodriguez, battered but composed, fought smart. He circled, countered, and picked his shots carefully. Every punch carried the weight of history. When the bell rang, both men raised their arms, exhausted, battered, and embraced by the roar of the crowd. They had given everything. The judges' scorecards were read aloud, unanimous decision. And with that, Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez was crowned the new WBC Super Flyweight Champion of the world. At just 22 years old, he became the youngest world champion in boxing. Tears filled his eyes as his hand was raised, while Cuadras stood tall, proud even in defeat. The torch had been passed, from a Mexican warrior to a new star from San Antonio, Texas. That night wasn't just a fight. It was the story of youth daring to defy the odds, of a veteran refusing to quit, and of boxing's eternal cycle, the old guard giving way to the new. Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez had arrived, and the world would never forget the night he announced himself as a champion.